I admit, and you're going to have to navigate this or navigate me properly. Help me navigate this properly. I really thought that I had the whole Jets draft situation lined up. Forever, I was trade out of 4, utilize the 4 spot to entice somebody to move up to draft Malik Willis, which still might happen, by the way.
Yep.
Trade down, get the assets, boom, that you get back from trading out. And then obviously use 10 and direct, whether it's Sauce Gardner, whether it's receiver, boom. Now I hear Robert Saleh, good-looking guy, isn't he? Let's face it, good-looking guy. I hear him saying this morning that Becton might not be ready for OTAs. Can you explain to me, because this really now might force the Jets to reposition their entire drafting strategy, how an injury that was first designated to be 6 to 8 weeks on the shelf.
Dislocated kneecap.
Yep. Not a ruptured Achilles. Not a torn labrum.
Nope. Not a torn patella.
Torn ACL.
Or patella. Or any of those major things, even though the patella does shift a little bit when this does happen, but still.
And he's big, we know. But how does a 6 to 8 week injury morph into 8 months? And should that maybe force the Jets to reconsider what they're about to do?
Well, I mean, the Jets have to be thinking about his long-term health. Like obviously what it means for the short term, but what does this mean long-term for us? And if it is going to be a long-term issue, do we need to address it in this draft? Now, there's so many other needs, and we've talked about it a lot, including impactful wide receiver, which, they tried to get through free agency, and obviously the draft is coming around. People are starting to come around on Drake London like I have, how important he could be for this Jets team and development of Zach Wilson. But if you do, and it feels like Joe Douglas has this team, the construction of this team going the right way. Like, we're not going to build everything outside and try to work back internally. They're trying to build internally and then work out from there. Did it with free agency. He's on the defensive side of the ball a little bit. If Mekhi Becton is not going to be healthy for OTAs, which then could push into the offseason workout program, which then all of a sudden it gets close to spring, and then the summer, and then he's on the PUP list come at the start of the season. It's just like, all right, we gotta get a solution, and so they might have to go for offensive tackle, even though I think if he's healthy, they're set at offensive tackle. They don't need to go lineman. They need to go skill position player. But if Mekhi Becton is going to turn out to be an injury problem, they got to get another tackle. They have to.
His tape is really good, but this is confounding.
It's confounding because this, as you said, BT, is an 8, let's say maybe a 12-week injury. It's been 8 months. 8 months.
Oh, trust me, I know.
I remember when it first happened because I was in the game I did. Yep. It was just like, oh, that sucks. He'll be back in a couple of weeks.
That's what I thought. That's what they thought.
And it just never came to, never healed.
It really wasn't even close to coming to fruition.
No.
Never was it like, he's a game time decision. It just
right.
Immediately early in the week, they punted on it.
That's
which
right.
Obviously now we know why. He touched on this earlier today. And here is Saleh on the OTAs.
We've been in constant communication with him. Feel like he's doing a really good job. Really excited to see him come back, and he's putting out the work. It's not easy going through what he's going through, and I can speak. I'll speak for him. I do know when he does come back, he's going to be a ball of butcher knives. So just really excited to get him back. So
okay, so that sounds good. A ball of butcher knives, whatever. I just want him out there just mashing people.
Yeah.
And man,
the question is now you're thinking about it.
Well,
I
am.
Now you're worried about it.
Well, it also depends on what the Jaguars do at 1. If they go O-line, this is where you and I have that bet on Japanese whiskey, a little bottle of Hibiki. If they go O-line at 1, which I don't think they will do, you do.
I do.
I think they'll go defensive end.
Yep.
Okay. If they go defensive end and Aquanu drops to 4, I think you have to take him at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean,
unless you get a king's ransom in a deal for Malik Willis.
Yeah, and it depends on how far back that is.
Uh-huh.
It could be 9 at Pittsburgh or not 9 Seattle, or it could be even farther back. But there's the two guys that you look at are Quan Yu and obviously Evan Neal from Alabama. And if one of those guys are available for you and you're the Jets, you almost have to take them. You know what I mean? You almost have to, especially if this thing. I mean, when he's talking about OTAs, that's post-draft. So this decision about whether or not Mekhi Becton is healthy enough to participate in offseason activities is going to happen after the Jets have their draft. So they got to make this decision before. They got to know before. And I think it sounds, I mean, from what he was saying, Robert Saleh, it sounds like he's working out and he's at the facility. It's not like
I've seen a ton of video clips of him.
But I don't know where he's working out. I don't know where those workouts are or where his rehab is. I'm assuming it's at the facility.
It didn't look like it was at the Jets facility.
Maybe it's not.
It didn't.
And if he doesn't know because he's not around, that makes it even worse.
It's just a real sideswipe here because I've seen at least, I feel like, in the last 3 weeks, Teak, 4 or 5, 30-second minute vids on social media.
Yeah, he's working out.
He's not exactly moving mountains.
True, but
he's read the comments.
But,
like, all right, get a little better workout than this.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he's working out and he looks good. But that's vastly different than putting on pads and stopping a 250, 60 pound.
But you're not putting pads on at OTAs.
I understand that. I'm not talking about OTAs.
But I am. That's why I'm worried.
But if he looks good, work on in a gym, it doesn't mean he's actually ready to go.
No, I understand that.
And that's what's making this hard to dissect. And especially if he's not around the Jets facility, it's definitely hard for them to dissect.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm sure because he said, look, they've been in communication. To me, that sounds like he's not around. But I think they need to evaluate him before April 28th. They have to know this answer. Otherwise, they're going to make a big mistake in the draft.
Here's my question. Why is he not at the Jets facility?
I don't know. Because it's the offseason. You don't necessarily have to be there.
Is that a good enough answer for somebody who you need to kind of get a kick in the ass to get things going here?
So here's the problem, BT, with the rules changes. Like you really can't be around any longer. They've changed it so much that, where in my era, if you were hurt, you could really be around all off season. I mean, come March 1st, you want to go work out, you can go in the facility, right? You need to go get a rehab, you go see the rehab guys. Right nowadays, they've positioned the CBA so that that coaches don't take advantage of players in the off season, that they're not always around. It's weird to me because when you think about it, who's going to give you the best opportunity to get healthy? It's the guys you're seeing all season long, as opposed to trying to go get a third party that now gets involved. So I don't know if he's around. I would assume that he's at least been in to see the doctors. But what Robert Saleh just said sounded like we're in communication with him, not like I went downstairs and saw him.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know.
Seems like there's a little guesswork there, kind of connecting dots there.
That's right.
I think Becton just had a baby, so I understand that dynamic, and God bless him and his wife. It's great.
And I'm not going to assume that he lives here full time already. Like
I would, though.
Some of these young guys do.
You know better than me. I don't know. I don't think it's an unfair presumption to think that when you get drafted in the top 10,
but
you're going to buy a nice setup near Florham Park and set up shop.
I don't know. It depends. Like, you're going to buy a house.
Greg Zuerlein signed a 1-year deal where you probably rented a condo. Buy a house.
A lot of these guys rent condos until they actually decide to settle someplace, and then they live wherever they're from.
Even
I don't know.
Becton?
I don't know.
Somebody like
I don't know.
That kind of money?
I don't know the answer.
You don't think Zach Wilson has a house?
No, I don't actually.
Maybe that's the wrong way to.
I think he has an apartment in Hoboken. Like all these guys, they get.
He's not living in Hoboken, Zach Wilson.
These guys get apartments in like these little trendy spots, and they hang out.
But you have a permanent residence, don't you?
I mean, I didn't have a permanent residence until I was 4 years in.
But you earned a first-round pick with that guaranteed $25-30 million out of the chute.
True. But I don't know if I wouldn't. You don't know. I didn't know I wanted to live in New York for the rest of my life. You just don't know. And so these guys are second to 23 years old.
What do I know? I didn't play. But if I was drafted by any team, you could be drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars in the first round, I'm buying a crib in Jacksonville. I mean, that's what I would do.
Maybe second contract. That's when it becomes
Dude, I'm not saying I buy a $9 million palatial estate.
You'd be surprised.
I buy something for
you'd
1.2
be surprised
to 1.5 or
how
1.2
many guys,
in Jacksonville.
You'd be
Let's go.
surprised how many guys just get an apartment and chill.
Right.
And they don't.
How many apartments do they have? Like the amount of cell phones they have?
I don't know.
Got to keep it on the DL there,
I don't know.
Got to keep it quiet.
That's a good question, though. I don't know if he's around.
It's worrisome if he's not.
Yeah.
It's a little disconcerting if he's not. And I'm not going to judge the young man entirely on his place of residence this offseason. I'm just, again, I use the term sideswiped. I've seen multiple videos. I'm like, oh, Becton's raring to go. He's good. He's ready. And then I hear the coach kind of imply possibly, trying to be fair, possibly otherwise. And I want to know what the hell's going on. And more directly, I want to know, does there need to be an abrupt pivot draft-wise? And as a Jets guy, as somebody who's been with you, immersed in these, like the Giants, these deep draft conversations. We'll get to the Giants next hour, by the way. Tiki's got something on the quarterback spot you guys don't want to miss. But we've been hitting this stuff since we started in January. And I was always of one mindset. And now, based on this ambiguous nature of Becton, with this possible transcendent figure that you could take it for, I don't know what the hell to do now. I thought I had it mapped out. I'm not happy. Dove, it seemed like you wanted to say something. What's up?
Well, half we edited that cut, so we had a longer cut that it references the OTAs.
I thought so. Oh, can we please hear this? Go ahead, guys.
Well, just in general, he's a very large man, and he's been working on that knee, so the road back for him is going to be harder than a guy like me, who, if I had the same injury, I'm like, it is what it is, and I know he's working his tail off, and really excited to get him back. Say that one more time. That I'm not sure about that one yet, but excited to get him back for OTAs.
I'm not sure about that one yet.
It just doesn't sound like he's been in great communication with his star left tackle.
And I don't blame that on Saleh. I'm
either.
sure he's been diligent in the communication and trying to really, get a bond and inspire the young man. Hey, listen, the guy who came and played left tackle last year, he was pretty good.
I agree.
And the metrics, validate that. Like, you better be ready to go. I mean, I think past Jet regimes would not communicate this. I hope, and I actually believe, that it has been, without anything up for interpretation, Mekhi, this is a crossroad in your career.
Yeah,
if you're not ready, you're not guaranteed anything.
Yeah. And meaning a starting job.
Yes.
Yes. And in so much of this, we're talking about his health right now, but there's still all the other stuff that goes with what Mekhi Becton, that is his weight. He had a personal chef last year, and he's got to be in great shape. He's got to stay healthy. All these things with a new regime that you need to get right. There's still question marks. So, of course, if you're the Jets, you got to be thinking about tackle, even though there's other needs that you definitely have to get to.